So there are people coming into hospital every day, as we know. The testing is very rapid now. We have a 24-hour turnaround, so there are not large numbers of people that I'm aware of. But what we presented the hospitalization numbers as of 7 o'clock this morning. So yes, there are people being assessed even as we speak and being tested. So I can't give you an idea of how many they are, and that's one of the reasons why we've always been giving the numbers at a specific point in every day. That's our best way of telling you how we're progressing.
You've been listening to a live broadcast from Victoria with Provincial Health Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry and today's update on COVID-19. Stay tuned to CBC Radio for a special Saturday edition of Cross Country Checkup with Duncan McHugh at 1:05 Pacific Time. Today's special guest, Dr. Brian Goldman, takes your questions for a full 2 hours. We now return to network programming already in progress. This is CBC Radio 1.
We hope that we are actually up and running within the next 4 weeks or so, and then it'll probably take about 4 months total to run the study. So we hope we know sometime this summer what the answer is.
Dr. Devine, thank you very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Dr. Dana Devine is Chief Scientist with Canadian Blood Services. Using blood plasma as a treatment may have potential, but the way to stop COVID-19 dead is with a vaccine. At the moment, the pandemic is a bit like a forest fire, and our lack of immunity to the coronavirus makes us a big pile of dry fuel. But once we get a vaccine, we become immune, and we deprive that fire of its fuel. Around the world, scientists are ramping up a massive effort to develop potential vaccines. They're exploring a wide range of innovative strategies, and there are even some candidates nearly ready for or even in human clinical trials. It's still a long road, at least a year, but the work is well underway. Dr. Stephen Barr is an associate professor at Western University's Schulich School of Medicine and Dentistry. His group is one of many in Canada working to develop a vaccine. Dr. Barr, welcome to Quirks and Quarks.
Thank you.
First of all, what does it take to design a successful vaccine?
Well, the first step for a vaccine is really to identify an important target on the virus that you're trying to attack. And so once this protein is identified, you can then take it and try to train the immune system to attack that particular virus when it enters the body.
Okay, so what is the feature of the coronavirus that you're targeting?
So when the virus enters the body, it first has to attach to the cells. And so the coronavirus has a specific protein on its surface called the spike protein. And if you visualize a kid's toy, a little ball that's got suction cups in it, you throw it at the wall and it sticks to the wall. So that spike protein is really, in essence, that suction cup. And so if we can prevent that suction cup or that spike protein from binding to a cell, it can't infect us. And if it can't infect us, it can't cause disease. So many researchers are trying to design drugs that will bind to this spike protein to prevent it from binding. And others will take that protein and turn it into a vaccine so that our immune system can naturally recognize it and attack it and prevent it from entering our cells.
Well, let's go through some of the different strategies, starting with one in the U.S. that's already begun human trials. Here's a scientist from the National Institutes of Health Vaccine Research Center, Dr. Kizmiki Corbett, describing her vaccine.
The messenger RNA will tell the body to present this spike protein, and the body will respond by creating an immune response.
Okay, Dr. Barr, translate that for me. How does a vaccine like this one work?
You can think of it as an inside-out approach. So if the spike protein is the target that we want to be able to recognize, there are several ways to deliver that to the human body in order for us to learn how to recognize it. And so this mRNA approach is basically taking a piece of genetic material and introducing it into our cells. Once it's in our cells, the body and the cells will naturally produce this protein that will be recognized by our immune system as antibodies that are floating around in our body and develop a response.
So you're saying that this approach is making our own cells produce those spikes, those suction cups you were talking about?
Exactly.
I'm thinking about a bloodhound, where they give it the scent of a criminal's clothing, and that's all the dog needs to find the criminal. They don't present the whole criminal.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, yeah.
What's the advantage of using this kind of vaccine?
So this vaccine, it would be quicker to produce because you don't have to purify and produce massive amounts of protein that you would typically do to inject into a person. This you would generate a small amount of nucleic acid material, this genetic material, and introduce it into a cell which will then turn it into protein on its own. So we're using the body's natural factories to produce the protein rather than factories that we build to produce the protein.
Okay. Now, the first Canadian scientists to develop a vaccine candidate, which they're now testing in ferrets, are also focusing on the virus spike protein, those little suction cups. Here's Dr. Volker Gertz, the director and CEO of Vivo Internet at the University of Saskatchewan.
So we're working on a supplement vaccine. So we're using a protein of the virus. We're not using the whole virus. And we're formulating it with what is called an adjuvant. So these are molecules that enhance the immune response and make them stronger, more robust, and more effective.
So Dr. Barr, how is this different from the RNA vaccine we just heard about?
So this is actually taking that spike protein itself, and they're taking that protein and they're mixing it with some other adjuvants that will stimulate the immune response to recognize this protein that would be floating around in the body after injection. And so the idea is that they are actually producing these vaccines on their own, so outside of the body, as opposed to the body taking that RNA and generating natural protein from that.
Okay, so they're not injecting the entire virus, just those spikes, those suction cups on the outside, and that's enough for the immune system to recognize it.
Right.
Okay, so finally, what strategy are you using in the vaccine that your team is developing?
So our team is building off of technology developed by Dr. Yang Kang, where we're taking that same spike protein in combination with some other coronavirus proteins that help form that structure on the surface. And we're taking those proteins and putting them into another virus. And this virus it does not cause disease in humans, so it's completely safe. But what it does is it presents those coronavirus proteins on the surface of this different virus. And we take that virus and inject it into the body, and that will present the proteins in a specific orientation, a specific way. And we think it's a confirmation that resembles more of what the virus will look like when it comes into the body. So if you have a free-floating protein, for example, in the blood, it's going to take a certain form that might be different than if it was stuck to something. And so by putting it into a shell of a virus, for example, we think that will help present it more properly, that will be able to be recognized by the antibodies.
Oh, so you're putting in an imposter, a virus that looks like the real one, but it's actually harmless in itself. And I'm going back to my bloodhound idea. You put the whole outfit of the criminal on a straw man and say, here's what he looks like.
Exactly. So we're trying to trick the body into thinking that it's being infected with this coronavirus, so that it generates the antibodies that will recognize that particular virus, so that when the real thing comes in, we can elicit a very strong and rapid response.
We're hearing about many groups moving quickly into human trials without going through the full safety protocol that we're used to with vaccines. How safe is that?
So it's still safe because we still have required at least a minimal amount of safety data. So we test these in animals, we test them in healthy human volunteers, and then we basically take that safety protocol and we follow it very, very closely, and we monitor sort of the different effects very closely. And if there's any indication that there's going to be a toxic effect, then the study would be halted right away, and we'd move on to a different approach. So I would say that the safety measures are fast-tracked in the sense that they are no longer guilty. They are just followed a lot more closely.
But what are the risks involved? I mean, you say that it could become toxic. What do you mean by that?
Right. So, for example, one of the major safety issues that we're trying to prevent right now, and this is based off of previous studies with SARS, is that some vaccines in a small percentage of people will react a little
10 minutes. I think it was 100.
For example, if the vaccine is introduced into somebody